Welcome back to another episode of Cosmima's Food for Thought. My name is Tulika and today we're joined by the lovely Tuilika Andreas, who is a youth activist, an influencer, a member of Nanso, co-founder of Purposeful Camp Namibia, and the founder of Dear Girl Namibia, and also Miss UNAM 2019. Welcome Tulika, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for the warm welcome.
Let's dive right into it. Tell us briefly who Tuilika Andreas is.
Well, a lot of people would describe me as an introvert. Well, I'm also an extrovert. I am a firm believer of Christ and I do everything on the three main pillars that I live by, which are integrity, honesty, and capability. I was raised by a single mother in the coastal town of Walvis Bay and grew up amongst boys. However, I turned out to be quite girly, as you can see.
Okay, that sounds like a lovely young woman, as you guys can see. So, what inspired you to start Dear Girl Namibia?
So growing up, I've always noticed that the Namibian girl child has been quite neglected in a lot of aspects, particularly in grooming her personality and integrating her into a society that consistently makes her feel younger or belittled compared to her male counterpart. In that same vein, I've noticed how so many girls are indignified because time and time again, girls need necessities to get by every day. They need sanitary pads, they need cosmetics and all these things. But despite those physical needs, they also need emotional needs, they need healing, they need therapy, because so many times girls have bottled up these feelings that impact the way they look at the world today. So me myself being a girl and living through these hurdles, I've realized that there needs to be someone in the community that helps younger girls as much as I would have loved to be helped when I was younger, to remind them that they have purpose, identity, and they belong.
That sounds like a really wonderful reason for starting such an impactful organization. So, what do you think the impact of Dear Girl Namibia has? What do you think the impact of Dear Girl Namibia has been on young girls so far?
I believe, as I have mentioned, we focus on dignity, identity, purpose, and belonging. And so far, it has been quite interesting to see how a lot of young girls reach out to us to have these discussions that they don't usually have in their homes. Discussions around purity, sexuality, discussions around who they envision themselves to be after they finish their academics and so on. So with a platform like this, we encourage young girls to have a voice in their community and to try as much as possible to not only be influencers but trailblazers as well.
And Dear Girl Namibia is currently running a fundraiser called the Dignity Fundraiser.
Yes.
So tell us a bit about the fundraiser and how can interested parties join?
The reason why we started this fundraiser is because we've noticed that with the impact of COVID-19, a lot of stores that are close to homesteads have been closed down, particularly in areas that have been drastically affected by this virus. And with that, we know that menstruation doesn't stop. We know that time and time again, girls need resources, girls need to be encouraged that even through times like this, there are people who are looking out for them, especially those in the most remote areas, in the most rural areas. So this fundraiser is basically to raise money from community members who are interested in restoring the dignity of young girls, which will then help us to purchase washable sanitary pads from the only company in Namibia that makes these pads, called Pads. And then together with a booklet on dignity, identity, and purpose, as well as sexuality and menstruation in general, we will then donate these washable pads to a minimum of 500 Namibian girls if the funds allow us to make that big of a donation. So anyone who's interested, honestly, you can reach out to us. You can check out our Instagram page and find out how you can help.
Okay, and how would the girls be chosen, the 500 or hopefully more girls that you guys would donate to? How would you choose the girls, and just basically how would you find the girls that are in need?
Okay, so currently we are working with life skills teachers from remote areas, as I've mentioned. It's the Zambezi region, the Kavango region, Karas region, as well as Erongo, and hopefully Komas region. So they are now helping us to target these girls because we are not in those regions, so we don't know who is in need, but we know the need is there. Because from previous visits, we've seen how girls have succumbed to using toilet papers, towels, mattresses, and even newspapers and roots during their menstrual cycle. So what makes us think now during these very drastic times that they won't still lean to using those things. So hopefully with these stakeholders that are involved, we will be able to identify girls who will truly benefit from this fundraiser.
How do you use your platform as a youth activist to empower young women all around Namibia and as well the world as well?
Thank you for that question. I believe that everyone is their own brand and everyone is their own platform. So wherever you go, it's important that you always advocate for what you believe in. But nonetheless, I do have my Instagram page where I am actively advocating for girls to believe in themselves and to continue pursuing their purpose. In that same vein, I also went to the States 2 years ago where I made quite great acquaintances, and till today we remain in touch, especially with my friend from Mauritius, and together we share ideas on how we can impact young girls all over the country and help remind them that they are dignified.
So there has been a surge in gender-based violence and rape cases as well as missing persons reports all over Namibia. How would you say that the Namibian justice system is a safe place for Namibian women?
Honestly, I don't know much about the current justice system. However, what I can say is that Namibia lacks, particularly the whole community, not just the government, but community members in general. We lack in upbringing. We lack in bending the tree while it's young, especially for the boy child. And because of this, we have a lot of damaged men out there, as well as damaged women. And because people are so damaged, they vomit their damage onto other people. And this is why we find that today young girls can't even walk safely in the street without being catcalled, without being groped, without being harassed in some way, mentally, physically, emotionally, and even spiritually sometimes. These Christian brothers are also out there now. So I just feel like it's up to us as a community really to stand together to continue educating young children, boys particularly, on what is right and how to respect the opposite gender, educating the girl child on how to take care of herself, not necessarily blame shifting, because there's no justification for rape or murder whatsoever. So yeah, I'd just like to encourage people out there to continue the search and sharing this information, especially about Shannon, and I hope that one day we will receive positive information.
And for the many other girls
exactly.
who are missing.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll one day
get as well.
Hopefully all of those rape victims and gender-based violence victims will also one day get the closure they need.
Definitely.
And
those who live in secret, who have been harassed and don't know who to speak to.
Those that live in fear every day.
Exactly.
So what do you think was the impact of COVID-19 on the mental health of the youth in Namibia?
COVID-19 has been a major disruptor worldwide, as we all know. And being a young person going through a time like this, it's really something that can change your perspective of the world, of people, and governments, everything. It changes the way you look at systems. It changes, even your faith sometimes is challenged by this. So I feel, particularly in terms of young people, with regards to their education and with regards to their vision and their future, they have been challenged in a sense of whether they still feel like they'll be able to achieve what they set out to achieve. And they go by every day, speaking now also from personal experience, every day they go by thinking whether tomorrow is secured and whether they will be able to reach their destination as they so planned. So again, as a community, as I mentioned, it's important that we advocate for safe spaces and that we remind young people that they are people they can talk to and they should not feel hopeless in this situation and in this time of COVID-19. But also in that same way, they should not feel pressured by anyone because we are in a pandemic, and that's what we fail to recognize. We continue pushing people that no, you have to do this, you have to be this, not realizing that people are affected or even infected. So yeah, as a community, we need to really advocate for safe space.
That's a very wonderful answer. And you were also the co-founder of Purposeful Camp Namibia. So tell us a brief history about the camp and what your journey has been like so far.
Purposeful Camp was started last year in 2019 by 3 of my other friends and myself. Honestly, this idea was, first of all, when we started it, it was so scary. We were like, we would pull it off. I mean, we are just 19-year-olds. That time I think we were even 18. And you know, 18 is like that age where you're doubting whether you can even do anything. So, and also we didn't really receive much support from people, so there's that. But we met up, my other 3 friends and myself, and we sat down and discussed the idea we had, and we had to name it, and we kept saying, no, it should be purposeful, there should be purpose, people should feel as if their purpose has been, they should find their purpose, and at the end of the day, so Purposeful Camp Namibia. So honestly, I feel it has been quite a journey being part of Purposeful Camp, meeting young people, engaging with them, speaking to them about purpose. And I think what I must say is that purpose and identity is something that you rediscover every day. It's not something that you just wake up and, okay, my purpose is to do this. And as a matter of fact, it's quite diverse. Your purpose can include so many things, depending also on your belief systems and your faith and how you look at the world. So in that regard, I think Purposeful Camp has really been quite a beautiful journey for me and my friends, and we continue to push the narrative that young people have purpose, and we continue to strive for them to understand that there are people out there, who are helping them to actually reach that destination.
So currently your applications for Purposeful Camp are still open. And with the country being in a state of uncertainty, are you guys still positive that the camp will still be able to take place this year?
Definitely. I think the 4 of us and the rest of the team, we are optimists, and we hope that as the situation unfolds, we will definitely follow through, but we are still hopeful that the camp will take place. So far, we have a venue sorted out. We are still looking for finances and sponsors, but we are still optimistic that at the end of the day we will indeed make sure that this camp takes place, because a lot of young people are looking forward to it. And just in that same vein, maybe we are also really trying to ensure that we stick to the regulations. So there will be some adjustments compared to last year's camp to accommodate the situation that the country is in, particularly in social distancing and temperature checking and quarantining of the participants before they come and all these things. So hopefully if the cases decrease or so on, being optimistic now, we will be able to accommodate even those from Walvis Bay and Swakopmund and all the areas that are affected.
Lovely words. So you're also a member of Nanso. Could you briefly tell us what your role in Nanso is?
Okay, I've been a member of Nanso since 2018. That was in my matric year, grade 12. And I serve as the chairperson of the Eronga Regional Executive Committee. Until today, I feel like Nanso has really impacted the way I look at the world and the way I function as a student and a learner, and how I look at fellow learners and students. So my role particularly lies in my responsibility to ensure that the voices of learners and students in the Eronga region are heard, and that I convey their concerns to our National Executive Committee, who then takes it up with the ministry or other stakeholders that may be involved. So far, I've also tried to incorporate Nanso in my other activities like Dear Girl and Purposeful Camp, where I also try to teach learners and students about their rights and responsibilities, and that they have a voice. And definitely, if you follow Nanso, you know that we are quite serious when it comes to learner and student issues, and we want to ensure that learners are consistently represented.
So what is Nanso doing to combat the effect of COVID-19 on the Namibian youth?
So currently, we are trying to assess whether schools are ready, and we are trying to ensure that learners are mentally sane, and also they are emotionally well as well. So far we have started with sending out motivational speakers and even people from our own teams countrywide who are motivating learners and encouraging them to continue being optimistic and positive during this very drastic time. And as I mentioned about the assessments, we are also trying to make sure that situations at schools are safe and accommodative, and learners are able to social distance, and teachers are actually ensuring that teaching takes place in a safe space where the spread of the virus is under control.
So with the launch of the school readiness assessment for all 14 regions, what would you say about the readiness of schools all over Namibia?
I feel there are some areas that are ready, but others, honestly, the way things look, they aren't at all. Mostly these are schools in rural areas where we know situations are hard and teachers are struggling to even come by, learners are staying far, walking long distances. Material is lacking, infrastructure-wise, all these problems are already in the country. So with that, I feel like schools should definitely, there should definitely be more to be done in order to ensure that schools are very ready to actually integrate the other grades who are not in school yet. So, but nonetheless, teachers are doing as much as they can together with Nanso and the government to ensure that learners are encouraged to keep safe, wear their masks, sanitize, and constantly Nanso is at schools making sure, overseeing that learners are following regulations.
You can say that COVID-19 has basically just pointed out the weaknesses of the governments around the world in the school systems.
I believe so.
Yeah. So you were also Miss UNAM 2019. So tell us a bit about your experience and your modeling career.
So I started doing pageants when I was grade 3. That was my first pageant, but unfortunately I didn't win that one, sadly. I think I reached the top 10, however. So I think I've always been quite a vibrant young girl, although I was quite shy as well. But doing pageants reminded me, or taught me rather, that we should be confident in who we are and we should always walk with our head held high. Ever since then, I've been doing quite a number of pageants. I did maybe up to even 9 local pageants in Walvis Bay. I did 2 national pageants. I almost did an international pageant last year, but due to circumstances, I had to withdraw. But yes, I think with pageants, I've been taught how to be a strong Black woman who believes in her ability and her potential, no matter what anyone else says. And one thing that my sister always tells me is that you are a walking CV. So wherever you go, you need to present yourself as such, because you don't know who has an opportunity for you, or you don't know who your next employer might be. So yeah, Miss UNAM was definitely one of the biggest pageants I've won last year. And being a first year, I didn't think I'll win this pageant. But I put myself out there and I tried it, because I know being a medical student, I might not get free time as in my first year ever again. So yeah, it taught me a lot, and I formed a lot of connections with other young people as well as with other stakeholders in the modeling industry.
So overall, it was a great experience.
Definitely.
And how would you describe the transition from, you mentioned that you were first year last year, so second year this year. So how would you describe your transition from high school into university life in Namibia?
Yeah, I think for me, my transition was quite rough, because I was a top scholar at my school, so I was definitely expected to go into a field of, high status or caliber and so on. And the expectation usually weighs a lot of people down. And because of that expectation from parents, friends, family, and anyone in the community basically, it even influences the choices you make as to what you want to study and so on. But back to your question about transitioning from high school to university, for me it was a learning process, because when I came to Windhoek, I had to live alone, away from family, and I had had to learn how to be more independent than I ever was. I had to learn how to, also analyze people and study who I should keep in my space and who I shouldn't. So it's all these things that teach you how to be a stronger person, a better person, and how to survive. So the survival kit is definitely what you need to have and what you need to take cognizance of when you come to university.
So lastly, what would your words of encouragement be to the Namibian child?
I have so much to say. Whenever someone asks me that, it's like, what do I say? Because so many young people are out there probably listening to me speak now. How am I able to impact them in this one moment? But nonetheless, I feel what I can say is that you need to consistently invest in yourself because you are your greatest asset. And no one else will invest in you as much as you can. No one else will love you as much as you love yourself. And no one else will value you as much. So it starts with yourself, being your own cheerleader, being your own hype man or hype woman as they call it today. And just ensuring that you capacitate yourself with skills, talents, knowledge, anything it may be. It's always good to be a jack of all trades, I think, but definitely a master of one. That's very, very important. So I urge young people out there to continue investing in themselves and stop wasting time on things that don't nurture their skills or don't draw them closer to who they see themselves becoming. So yeah, continue being your own cheerleader. You are doing amazing in anything you're doing, and whatever dream you have, it's valid, and there are people out there to help you.
Lovely words from the lovely Miss Tuilika Andreas. So this was our interview for today. I had a lovely time with you. Thank you for joining us.
So did I.